Hi guys, Tracy here with a 3-kit layout. I'm going to scrapbook this picture of my mom and stepdad and my daughter Sophie. And right now I'm having a look at the Citrus Twist kit. It has those awesome Maggie Holmes canvas frames in it. And I had cut up a bunch of pieces of paper that I didn't use. So first I flipped through those to look for some scraps, but I'm really looking for something that's going to pick up on the red in the jackets in the photo. And so a lot of the papers in the Scraptastic kit were too pinky for my purposes this time. So although I am going to use some of the embellishments, I'm not going to use many of the papers. So there I have 2 pieces of paper picked out. I'm not going to end up using them, but the lined paper is from Maggie Holmes, and then that cool matte paper I believe is from crepe paper. I didn't write it down because I didn't end up using it, but I'm pretty sure it's from crepe paper. It's got like reds and greens. It's really pretty, but I ended up just using different reds. So the Citrus Twist kit also came with all of these overlays to make your pictures look like they have filters on them. Well, they sort of are filters. But I was thinking about using it more as a layer than as a filter because I really liked the coloring in this photo as it was. So now I have the Scraptastic kit out, and I'm looking at the stamp set that I bought from Scraptastic, and I'm looking at some of the papers. That paper has anchors on it, and so because there's some boats in the background, I thought that would be appropriate. So I'm basically picking out anything that I see that has the shades of red that I'm looking for mostly. So that's a piece of Echo Park cut aparts, and it has some rainy navy blues and reds, and also that lighter color of blue. I'm actually going to take the color scheme for this layout from that paper, but I'm actually not going to use the paper because it ends up being too white. Now this is the Studio Calico kit, so it also has some navy blues and some reds, and I really love that L Studio wide gray stripe. It's by L Studio, and it came in the Studio Calico kit, and I have been wanting to use that for a background forever and ever. Well, not forever and ever because it just came out recently, but ever since I saw it. So I'm just having a look through the Studio Calico papers and pulling out any ones that I think might coordinate with the colors that I've already started to use. This is a piece of Dear Lizzie Lucky Charm paper. Love that handwritten navy blue paper. So I'm just going to trim it up to size so it makes a nice mat. And then this is crate paper from the Party Day collection. Just wanted to cut that into more of a vertical strip. Still toying with the idea of using that filter as a layer, but I'm going to change my mind because it's too brown, and I'm going with kind of like navy blues and grays. So I'm going to put a very thin navy blue mat using a piece of cardstock from the Studio Calico kit around my photo, and I don't really need it because it's on gray paper already, but I just wanted to give it a little bit more definition. It's kind of like outlining it. I stuck in a little scrap of that seafoam paper from the Sundrifter collection by Studio Calico. That came in 2 different kits. It came in the Scraptastic kit and one of the other ones, I think Studio Calico. And I love that paper, so I had to include a little scrap of it. So now I'm having a look at some of the embellishments. You saw me punch 3 pinked circles using my Martha Stewart punch out of that Dear Lizzie paper with the anchors on it. And now I'm looking at the Maggie Holmes embellishments. Those are the die cut ephemera pieces that came in the Citrus Twist kit. A little bit behind here. Now I'm trying to keep up. Now I'm looking at my own sticker stash. So these are stickers from my own drawer, and I put a bunch of Echo Park stickers that had the right colors on a piece of wax paper. I ended up not using any of them, and I put them back after the video was over. Now these are chipboard stickers. They're made by Thickers, and they're from the Dear Lizzie Lucky Charm collection. They come in 2 different colors. One is colorful and the other one is all muted colors, and I used the umbrella and raindrops from the muted package. I also have a strip of Lucky Charm paper, that's chevron there right below the butterfly. The butterfly is part of the Maggie Holmes ephemera stuff. So I pulled out some potential stickers, and I'll talk about them as I use them. So now I'm just going to layer my pieces together. I do use my phone to take a picture just to use for reference. Sometimes I use it a lot and sometimes I never look at it, but I like to take it just in case. Of course, my tiny attacher runs out of attachers really quickly because it's broken, so I can only fill it so far. Gotta get a new one someday, but um, yeah, so there's my layers all coming together and they're mostly straight. I find if I just put one piece a little bit off, it makes it look a lot more casual than if they're all straight, or if they're all off center, then it starts to look a little crazy. So that's a tip, is to just put one or two pieces off kilter instead of all of them. So now I'm using that chevron as a strip, and then I'm also cutting a couple of extra pieces to kind of make it so that it's a strip that kind of separates at the end. Looking for how I'm going to put together some of these layers, and so I have an ephemera piece there right by my finger that I'm working on right now, and one of those pinked circles that I punched, and then I thought about using that last piece of Dear Lizzie flare that came in the Citrus Twist kit, but it didn't quite match. So I picked out some flare buttons from a Flare for Buttons, just from my own stash. And I'm layering them with some October Afternoon. What I did was I layered some October Afternoon label stickers so that the pink circle just peeks out. So it actually didn't end up mattering that there were anchors on it. It doesn't really matter. That blue piece up there in the top left-hand corner is a piece of Maggie Holmes ephemera, and I have it layered with, right now it's an Echo Park sticker, but I'm changing it to another one of those October Afternoon labels with the pink circle peeking out from underneath. I just had to go into another sticker sheet to find that label because there were only two on the label sheet that I started with. So now I have kind of three different sections of embellishment. So I'm gluing down the Maggie Holmes ephemera and then my little handmade embellishment that consists of the pink circle and the label on top of it. And then I'm putting the flare badge on the very top. There's pop dots between the ephemera piece and the pink circle. So not sure what I'm doing now. I can see my shadow, so I know I'm doing something. There I go. I am laying down the chevron, and I'm just using a tiny bit of ATG because I'm going to do some sewing. That's why I took off the flare badges, so that I can do some sewing. So I'm going to pull everything out of my way. I'm going to trim up I forgot to take off the branding strip from that L Studio, and I also forgot to glue down the main embellishment cluster, so the main layers. So I did that, and now I'm using my silver thread. It just was what was already in my kit, and it looks nice with the gray background. Sorry, it wasn't in my kit, it was in my sewing machine. So I'm just putting a couple of random pieces of sewing, parts of sewing, in a couple of different places. They're sort of going to go around where my embellishments are. And I sewed down the center of the chevron so that I can then pull up the edges of the chevron. Like so. I'm going to glue down some of that because it has to lie flat for the butterfly. So I'm using some glue dots to put my flare badges back in place. And I'm using my ATG to glue down that butterfly. I'm just putting some pop dots under the wings, but I'm not gluing them down. I'm just using it to give it a bit of lift. And now this center one is going to have to be bent in order for it to lie properly with the butterfly. And so I'm actually going to do some sewing, and I'm sewing before and after so that there's kind of strings hanging off of the embellishment. And the strings kind of look like the head and tail of the butterfly. So I'm using glossy accents to glue all of that down. And now I'm going to decide where I'm going to put this umbrella, and I decided that instead of floating it up by itself, I'd make it part of this cluster so that it becomes a cluster with the circle embellishment that I created. And now I'm just going to arrange those raindrops so that they look sort of natural as I can, and making one fall off the edge of the paper helps it to be more natural. So you noticed I took one extra raindrop from the other set of stickers. The more colorful set does have a couple of the same blue raindrops in it, so I took those. I went to my sewing machine off screen and typed in the name of the museum that we went to that day, and I just used it as an embellishment on the umbrella because the umbrella was looking kind of bland there, kind of bland and plain. So typewritten title on there with a little, it's not an enamel dot, it's by Bo Bunny, and it's a little pearl. And now I have been wanting to use these Heiddi Swapp transparent letters forever. Well, again, ever since they came out, they're sort of new product. But I was so excited to see that they came in the Scraptastic kit. So that is what I'm using. I hadn't quite decided what my title was going to be, if it was going to be Rainy Day or if it was going to be Rain Rain and then have the subtitle of Go Away. But with the typing right below the words rainy day, the typing that already came on the paper, I didn't really want another subtitle to be competing with the phrase that was there. So I'm just going with rainy day. And when I use transparent things, I like to overlap them because it really accentuates the fact that they're transparent, and you get to see that kind of doubly, it's kind of darker in the places where it overlaps, and I love that. I'm having a bit of trouble getting this A stapled down in place. It's just I don't have much space to hold on to it and to staple, but I finally got it down. And I love how the title looks. I absolutely love it. Gotta get some more of those because I love those transparent letter stickers, and I love them stapled down. I'm not the first person to do that. I've seen a lot of people are stapling them onto the layouts, and it's great. It's a great option for something that's transparent because you don't have to worry about glue. So now I wanted to do my journaling up in the top, but the paper there was too busy for my journaling to really show up. So I decided to journal on vellum, just plain vellum, and then layer it over the pattern paper, and that way it stands out a little bit more. So now I'm going to show you the close-up. That's another flare for buttons flare badge there. Now you get to see what I mean about the journaling just standing out a little bit more when you do it on top of vellum, and just my little layered embellishments there. And so you're going to see me show this, and then I'm going to decide that it needs a little something else. So I'm going to add some paint splatters, some ink splatters, after I show you this. So I love how a chevron looks when it's sewn down the middle and then pulled up like that. So here I go with my inks. I'm going to mask off part of it, and I'm just going to put a little bit of white Mr. Huey's. I had a hard time getting it to come out, but I think I'm getting low on it, so I'll have to buy another bottle. So there's how it looks with the paint splatter, and it's not dry yet, but you know, you can imagine how it looks dried. I don't know if it actually dried on the, yeah, it did. Oh, no, it didn't. It actually didn't dry on the letters, so I'm going to have to go back. I thought it might not. I'm going to have to go and actually get rid of that because it'll make a mess in my page protector. So I'm just going to take a baby wipe and very gently wipe off the white splatters that got on the R and the A from my title. So here are some pictures of it. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I love this layout. It was so much fun to make, and it came together really quick. I think it took about an hour. So thanks so much for watching, guys.